Hey guys, Wayne here, and welcome to my brand new series, ABC of AC3. Now this is a strategy guide series where we'll be looking at the ins and outs of pretty much everything related to Assassin's Creed 3 multiplayer, tactics, modes, maps, bonuses, and some little cool tricks and tips along the way. Now, the way this is going to work is that we're going to go through A to Z of the alphabet and cover a few things each episode related to each letter. And then once we're done with through A to Z, I'm going to go back to A and cover anything that I've missed. So don't worry, we'll cover pretty much everything sooner or later. First up, obviously, no further ado, we're going to be looking at the letter A. Now, first off, for letter A, we have the Animus core. This is my least favourite map. I find it very disorientating, in particular because I wear glasses as well. The colour scheme is quite bland, and where I'm in right now is Zone 1, or Quadrant 1, separated into 5 quadrants, and we'll look at each of them consecutively. Now, Quadrant 1 is the most familiar, or most normal looking of all the quadrants, just because it looks like any standard map. You know, you've got your buildings, your trees, your colour palette, etc. It's one of 3 open zones. Obviously, this open zone, you've got all these little shacks that people hide in, so when you're going in there, be careful, don't take a wide berth. Now this is Quadrant 2, again like Quadrant 1, it's open, but it's got a bit of elevation on it. There's a few good hide spots, but it's mainly drops and a few little hay bales and stuff to hide in. I wouldn't recommend using this point in particular related to manhunt, because you'll get killed very easily and it's that easy to spot. Each quadrant is separated by all these little narrow corridors and very close quarters chase breakers, very good to use for artifacts. And in particular related to this zone, because this is Quadrant 3, and this is the zone for one of the artifacts in Artifact Assault, which we'll be covering a good escape route out of this zone in just a moment. Now again, this is the third and final open zone. You've got a lot of exit points, but again, the major point of this is that this is the zone where the artifact is, and again, I'll be showing you tactics. But again, no point in hiding here, stick to the narrow corridors. Alright, now this is Quadrant 4, this is the other zone for Artifact, the other Artifact zone. Now this has got a roof on it. This is very hard to get into because the only way in here is through 4 little doorways, all of which, if you've got a good defender, can be covered very, very easily. So if you're going after this zone, take your time and use blend groups to try and get through there because it's almost impossible. Now this is the final quadrant, well basically the deathmatch quadrant. Now if you played Deathmatch and Animus Core, you know exactly where I am. You know, the sections here behind me are blocked off. And I really don't like, this is why I don't like it, because it's, I don't know, I'm not even going to go get all personal, I just don't like it. But I'll probably cover this more in Deathmatch, but in the Deathmatch when we get to D, but if you stay here, you will dominate the Deathmatch, without question. This is the best zone in Deathmatch and Animus Core, and use it wisely. When playing Artifact Assault and Animus Core, you want to utilise Quadrant 2, just because it's the best point of entry into both Artifact zones. Now this is just my personal little tactic that I like to use in getting into both zones. First off, you want to move into Quadrant 2 into the Artifact Zone and use this section and use blend groups. This little ginnel, as it were, right behind the Artifact Zone. You want to have Decoy equipped. You want to send that off. I sent that off a bit too early, but the tactic still applies. And then either hide in this blend group if another teammate has the core, as the artifact I should say. And then, when you're ready, without a shadow of a doubt, you just run through that chase breaker. Throw a smoke bomb for good measure, just in case anyone gets right up behind you. And you want to utilise these little tunnels and these close quarters chase breakers. They are very, very useful, and you want to use all this section. Again, go through those 2 chase breakers I just went through into these 2. Ignore the elevator, straight through it, and it leads just right out into your zone. It is ridiculously simple. Now let's see it in practice. Again, I'm in a blend group, I've got Decoy, and I'll just slowly guide us through it. See? Just set off my decoy. Now I have the artifact, and now I'm just running. Through the chase breaker, my decoy for some reason went the way I was running, but oh well, still a distraction. Straight up these stairs, through the barrier, through the frontier as it's called now. Around, through these two chase breakers. Open up, lovely little jump. Oh, a bit of a smoke bomb for good measure because this guy was trying to outrun me, but I'm not going to stun him, I'm just going to go straight through, and then there you go, get the score. Knife. And you shouldn't have followed me. There we go, done. And there it is. Finally, we're going to be looking at defense for Artifact Assault. Now, in my opinion, defense is more important than stealing the artifacts, because if you don't have a good defensive team or a good defensive member, you will lose. Now, personally, when I go into defense, like I'm doing right now, I always go in carrying throwing knives, smoke bomb, and trip mine. Now, a trip mine is a brilliant tool in Artifacts because you can stick it right there in an area where you're not too sure if you can always keep an eye on, and when people try and rush in, like they're trying to do now. And even though they do throw smoke bombs and they try and use teleports, throwing knives will soon stop them. And like this one here, walks right into the trip mine, bang, easy, job done. It's really that simple. Now, as well as protecting the boundary, you've got to have a good eye. This one decides to come in and jump over. A good eye on who your targets are, i.e. this one is the preacher, so you've got to keep an eye on every single preacher. But sometimes some just get away from you and you know exactly who they are and you go after them right now. You know, they throw a smoke bomb and stun your ass. But the flip side to that, if you have a good wingman, and a second defensive person. So often when I play Artifacts, I always try and get 2 on 2. So you've got 2 defensive, 2 attacking, and so the skills are evenly spread, and you can effectively defend and attack well, very good really. And then if one gets away, you run them down and you kill them. It is that simple. Again, trip mine. Very good tool, and even if they run through it, even if they do manage to get through the thing, the noise alerts you, so it's a good warning tool as well. Even if they do manage to run all the way through it with a bug and a glitch. But even then again, you don't even have to run them all down. If you see someone who's after the artifact, you don't have to always run them down. Mark them and let someone else deal with them. If you've got teammates around, they can easily take care of it. You don't have to compromise your defensive line just for someone who's playing peekaboo. Now, last but not least, if you ever get bored, if you think the line's pretty secure, you can always go for a bit of a wander to the boundary of the defensive room, and you can sometimes get lucky with these two little Bambies. Hidden one, smoke bomb, bang, multi-kill, sorted. There are so many different layers to defense, and in my opinion, they are all as important as each other. And I always like defensing. I love defensing because it's a good reaction time. It keeps you focused, it keeps you coordinated, and it keeps your reaction times very minimalistic. And then if people just get by you like this, you run them down and you do not hesitate to stick your weapon in their spinal column. But then again, you have teleport. Teleport is a defender's worst nightmare, but we'll discuss that in T later on in the series. There you go, guys. There was episode 1, letter A. Sorry if I didn't cover anything specific you guys wanted to hear. If you can stick it in the comments below so I've got a reminder for when I go back to A, that'll be smashing. And if you want to put a comment for anything you want to see in the later videos for ABC, let us know so it's there for a reminder so I can do them. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you learned something, great. If you didn't, don't mind. Just hope I entertained you. And there we go. Comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode. Have a good one. Be safe, guys. Wayne out.